folks, and it's the love quiz today, being St. Valentine's Day. So welcome to everybody on St. Valentine's Day. Happy St. Valentine's Day. Of course, it should be said that love is not St. Valentine's Day, and there are many people who are on their own on Valentine's Day. It doesn't mean they don't love someone or someone doesn't love them, or they have pets or families that they deeply love. And really, love is about lots of things, not just cards and flowers. So this is really for everybody who loves, whoever has loved, and who continues to love. Now, you might notice a little bit of kind of romantic music playing in the background. I've discovered a good site called freesound.com, and you can pick tracks of music and sound effects to play on videos. So if you're interested, just go to Freesound if you ever need a track which is not going to have that problem of the 15 seconds and then you're into copyright problems. So just for those of you that like mucking around with videos like I do. Okay, the love quiz. Right, round one. Now this is a multiple choice round, and it's called The Great Seducers. Question 1. Who had affairs with Mark Antony and Julius Caesar? Who had affairs with Mark Antony and Julius Caesar? Well, who was it? Was it A, Hattie Jacques, B, Lucrezia Borgia, or C, Cleopatra? Okay. My music seems to have gone away a bit now. Let's try again. Oh, I don't want that one. Right, let's get back to... I don't know what's happening here. This is one of the difficulties of trying to do everything as a non-technician. Come on, Freesound. My iPhone keeps on wanting to do something else. Okay. Right. So, who had affairs with Mark Antony and Julius Caesar? A, Hattie Jacques, B, Lucrezia Borgia, or C, Cleopatra? Okay. Question 2. Which American politician had affairs with Angie Dickinson, Marlene Dietrich, and Marilyn Monroe? Was it A, President Lyndon Johnson, B, President JFK, President Kennedy, or C, Senator Robert Kennedy? Okay, which one of those three was it that had those affairs with various actors? Question 3. Which blonde was involved with Allegra, Petronella, and Marina? Was it A, Lady Penelope, B, Boris Johnson, or C, Prince William? So which blonde was involved with Allegra, Petronella, and Marina? Was it A, Lady Penelope, B, Boris Johnson, or C, Prince William? Question 4. Which king had lovers, including Nell Gwyn, big clue there, Barbara Palmer, and Louise de Keroualle? Was it A, Henry VIII, B, William the Conqueror, or C, Charles II? Which of those kings had affairs with Nell Gwyn, Barbara Palmer, and Louise de Keroualle? And then question 5 of the Seducers round. Which American actor ate peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in bed to keep his strength up? Very romantic, that. Very romantic indeed. So which American actor ate peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in bed to keep his strength up? A, Jack Nicholson, B, Errol Flynn, or C, Charlie Sheen? Which of that wonderful trio of manhood ate peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to keep his strength up in bed? Now on to the next round. What I Did for Love. Like, what I did for love. Anyway, it's about people who have given up different things for love. And here goes. Right. Question 1. Which king gave up his throne to have the help and support of the woman I love? So there was a king who gave up his throne to have the help and support of the woman I love. Was it A, Edward VIII, B, Napoleon, or C, Nat King Cole? Okay, so was it A, Edward VIII, B, Napoleon, or C, Nat King Cole? Question 2. What couple gave up their standing in society to have the first lesbian marriage in 1834? Was it A, Charlotte and Emily Bronte, B, Virginia Woolf and Vita Sackville West, or C, Anne Lister and Anne Walker? Which of those couples had the first lesbian marriage in 1834? Okay. Question 3. He was an international cricketer and politician. She was a young socialite who changed her religion, her language and country for him. Who were they? And this is A, Sachin and Anjali Tendulkar, B, Imran Khan and Jemima Goldsmith, or C, Elizabeth Hurley and Shane Warne? Okay. Question 4. This romance led to one of the lovers being jailed in 1895. A, Oscar Wilde and Lord Alfred Douglas, B, Lord Nelson and Lady Hamilton, and C, Isadora Duncan and Paris Singer. One member of these couples got jailed because of their romance. Was it Oscar Wilde and Lord Alfred Douglas, A, B, Lord Nelson and Lady Hamilton, C, Isadora Duncan and Paris Singer? Which of those couples was it? Okay. Question 5. This actress gave up a starring career in films to marry a prince. Who were they? Right, so that's either Grace Kelly and Prince Rainier of Monaco. Monaco? You say tomato, I say tomato? I don't know. Alternative B, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, or C, Sophia Hellqvist and Prince Carl Philip of Sweden? Which of those 3 couples did one of them give up a starring career in films to marry a prince? So that's A, Grace Kelly and Prince Rainier, B, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, or C, Sophia Hellqvist and Prince Carl Philip of Sweden? You may have noticed the music's finished. It was only about 5 minutes long. So, and I'm not going to fuss with it anymore because I have to keep on stopping my iMusic from interfering with it. Right, on to the next round. And after this round, we'll have the music, haha. But now, this round is called Who Said? And there's 3 points available for each question. The quotes are said by characters in fiction. So, you can get a point for the character that says it. You can get a point for the name of the book or play or whatever that the character is in. And you can get a point for the author. Okay, so each question has 3 points attached to it. Okay, so who said? Question 1. He is more myself than I am. Whatever our souls are made of, his and mine are the same. Okay, he is more myself than I am. Whatever our souls are made of, his and mine are the same. Okay. Question 2. This is a bit steamy, this. Tonight, he whispered, his voice hoarse and hot in her ear, I will make you mine. Tonight, he whispered, his voice hoarse and hot in her ear, I will make you mine. Ooh. Right, question 3. Who said this? In vain have I struggled. It will not do. My feelings will not be repressed. You must allow me to tell you how ardently I love and admire you. Right, I got that right, the wrong way round. It's admire and love you. Okay, I'll do it again. In vain have I struggled. It will not do. My feelings will not be repressed. You must allow me to tell you how ardently I admire and love you. Okay, remember 3 points on each question in this round. Okay, question 4. Who said this? I know we can do this. I know it's not how you would have chosen it, but I know I can make you happy. And all I can say is that you make me into someone I couldn't even imagine. You make me happy, even when you're awful. I would rather be with you, even the you that you seem to think is diminished, than with anyone else in the world. So who said this? I know we can do this. I know it's not how you would have chosen it, but I know I can make you happy. And all I can say is that you make me into someone I couldn't even imagine. You make me happy, even when you're awful. I would rather be with you, even the you that you seem to think is diminished, than with anyone else in the world. So which character said that? In which novel, and what was the author? Okay, right. Question 5, the last question of the who said round, and then we go on to the music. Question 5. Let her go. Let go the woman you've been looking for everywhere just because she's difficult. Because she had a temper, energy, ideas of her own and fought back. Let go a woman whose eyebrows were a study, whose face was enough to engage your attention all your life. Let go of a woman who was not only a woman, but a sound, all the music he had ever wanted to play, a world and a way of being in it. Let that go. I can't. So, let her go. Let go the woman you've been looking for everywhere just because she was difficult, because she had a temper, energy, ideas of her own, and fought back. Let go a woman whose eyebrows were a study, whose face was enough to engage your attention all your life. Let go a woman who was not only a woman, but a sound and all the music he had ever wanted to play, and the world and a way of being in it. Let that go. I can't. Okay, so that's the end of the saying who said round. Now then we get into the area of jeopardy with my Spotify. Let me see, I'll get logged in again and see what's happening. I've got it all lined up, I think. Oh, come on. Right. It's very windy here today. Windy and wet and cold. Not really a great day for a Valentine. I do remember once when I was barely 20, a boyfriend that I'd split up with trudged through the snow to see me and brought me a handmade card with flowers painted on it. I think he probably borrowed his sister's painting set. Anyway, I thought it was so romantic at the time, us walking back through the snow. Long gone, long gone. Right, okay then. Now then, of course with these ones you get 2 points per question. You get the name of the song and the artist, okay? So let's start with number 1. And let me make sure that the sound is on, yes. Okay. Let's try that. Aha, come on. Oh, this is... Oh, come on now. Let's go back and try again. This is just one of the great aspects of doing a quiz live. So you get to laugh at how amateurish it all is. Well, I struggle with blooming Spotify. Right, okay, let's try again. Number 1. Come on then. Ah, great. This is a lovely one. Okay. And now a bit of a change in tone with number 2.
It's been 7 hours and 15 days.
Such a sad one, that one. And now number 3. This will cheer you up a bit. Okay, and then number 4. Very smoochy, this one. La la la, la 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 la. Right, and then question number 5. Right, just got within the 15 seconds. Right, so let's hope that Spotify works again when we come back to do the answers. Now, we've done most of the quiz now, but we have one little section left, which is wedding traditions. And, you know I talked about love being, it's about lots of things, and it's not just about hearts and flowers and weddings, but I thought, well, we'll finish it off with a nice little wedding thing. And I'm thinking about my daughter and my prospective son-in-law. I mean, he's basically my son-in-law already, who have a wedding booked for May, and poor souls, they just don't know what's going to happen. So I'm going to dedicate this to them, because you know who you are. You will get married at some point in the next year. I am certain of it. And I'll be there to watch my lovely girl walk down the aisle, I promise. Okay, right. Wedding traditions. Question 1. Where, this is in which countries, do brides and their female friends gather before the wedding to have henna tattoos? It's called mehdi, on their arms and feet, and you know, sometimes, I don't know, do they have them on their necks? I'm not sure, but certainly arms, hands, feet, those beautiful henna tattoos, which of course nowadays we have in all sorts of things. I mean, well, when we used to be able to mix, when I worked at Whisk, we often had henna tattoos being done, kind of at Women's International Day and all of that. So, right. Question 2. Where can wedding guests steal a kiss? Whenever the bride leaves the room, the guests can steal a kiss from the bridegroom, and vice versa. So when your newlywed partner goes to the loo, you'll have a rush of people wanting to kiss you. Sounds rather fun. Okay. Question 3. In which culture is the bride unveiled until her groom has seen her face? So there is one culture where in weddings the bride comes in with her face unveiled, but then the groom places the veil over her face. Which culture is that? And then question 4. In which country do guests hijack the bride around coffee time and take her to a bar to drink champagne? The groom has to then find her, bring a bouquet to the bride. He has to pay the bill for all the drinks they've drunk, and he gets the cork from the bottles threaded in a necklace round his neck. So if they've been going at it for an hour or so, he's probably got quite a long necklace. And then the whole party head back to the wedding. considerably, most of them considerably merrier than they were when they left. Which country does that happen in? Dread to think of it happening in the UK, because everybody would be drunk already, wouldn't they? Sorry, that's no, not everybody. Right. Last question of the quiz. Where does the length of the bride's veil reflect the length of the engagement? It's 1 metre for each year. So if you have a very, very long veil, you've been engaged since heaven knows when. Okay? Where does that happen? All right then. Now, let's go back to the answers. Okay? In this romantic quiz. Which I've enjoyed. I've very much enjoyed actually doing the research for it, because, you know, you read such lovely quotes and it brings a bit of love into your life. I mean, I've got lots of love. I'm very, very lucky. But anyway, this is just a bit of fun. Okay, section 1, the great seducers. Who had affairs with Mark Antony and Julius Caesar? And the alternatives were A. Hattie Jacques, B. Lucrezia Borgia, and C. Cleopatra. And it was C. Cleopatra. She had an affair with Mark Antony and with Julius Caesar. And you can see that there's obviously the Shakespeare play that was written about her and Antony, Mark Antony, Antony and Cleopatra. So she was an Egyptian queen. Right. Question 2. Which American politician had affairs with Angie Dickinson, Marlene Dietrich and Marilyn Monroe? Was it A. President Lyndon Johnson, B. President Kennedy, or C. Senator Robert Kennedy? And the answer is B. It's President John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Now, he was apparently Angie Dickinson was introduced to him by Frank Sinatra. She wasn't actually that impressed with him, I have to say. She made some comments about his performance, shall we say. Famously, of course, President Kennedy had an affair with Marilyn Monroe. She was also said to have had an affair with Senator Robert Kennedy, but he didn't have affairs with the other two women that I've mentioned. And the final one, Marlene Dietrich, she was 60. She was old enough to be his mum, but she was obviously still very, very attractive. So that was the libidinous President Kennedy. Right, okay. Question 3. Which blonde was involved with Allegra, Petronella and Marina? And the alternatives were Lady Penelope, B. Boris Johnson, or C. Prince William. And the answer is B. Boris Johnson. Allegra was his first wife. Petronella was a newspaper columnist who he had a 4-year affair with, and she actually had an abortion. She was pregnant with his child, and I think felt that there was no future, so she had an abortion. And Marina is the wife that he left for Carrie. So Marina is his wife that he was with for the longest. So the blonde was Boris Johnson. Okay. Right. Question 4. Which king had lovers including Nell Gwyn, Barbara Palmer and Louise de Keroualle? And the alternatives were A. Henry VIII, B. William the Conqueror and C. Charles II. Well, Henry VIII, of course, had a lot of wives, and he did have mistresses. William the Conqueror, I don't know about. But the answer is C, Charles II, who famously had many, many mistresses. And as I've said before, most of the aristocracy in the British Isles can be traced back to one of Charles II's mistresses, because he gave a lot of them dukedoms and earldoms, his illegitimate kids. Okay, question 5. Now this is so romantic, isn't it? Which American actor ate peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in bed to keep his strength up? Well, the answers were A. Jack Nicholson, B. Errol Flynn, or C. Charlie Sheen. And the answer is A, Jack Nicholson. All three of these actors are known womanizers, but it was Jack Nicholson who felt the need to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to keep his strength up. Jelly, of course, is the American word for jam. And I've had peanut butter and jam sandwiches, and you know, they're not bad. They're quite enjoyable if you kind of turn off your critical faculties for a bit. Right, next section. What I did for love. Right, this is one where we look at people who've given things up for love. Right, which king gave up his throne to have the help and support of the woman I love? That was, of course, let's give the answers first. A, Edward VIII, B, Napoleon, C, Nat King Cole. Well, the answer was A, Edward VIII, and he fell in love with Wallis Simpson. She was an American divorcee, and it was, at the time in the 1930s, it was unthinkable that a divorcee should be Queen of England. So he gave up his kingship, his throne, to marry her. So that was the answer, Edward VIII. Right, question 2. What couple had the first lesbian marriage in 1834? And that would have actually, you know, they were very open, and so they would have lost their standing in society with some people, certainly. And the suggested answers were A, Charlotte and Emily Bronte, B, Virginia Woolf and Vita Sackville West, or C, Anne Lister and Anne Walker. And the answer is C, Anne Lister and Anne Walker. Anne Lister is the subject of the TV drama Gentleman Jack, which you may have watched. Saran Jones played her. And the love of her life was Anne Walker. And they went to church on Easter Sunday at the Holy Trinity Church in Goodrumgate in York, and this was in 1834, and they took Holy Communion, and they did that to seal their vows to each other. So it is classified as the first lesbian marriage in Britain. Okay, question 3. He was an international cricketer and politician. She was a young socialite who changed her religion, her language and her country for him. Who were they? And the suggested answers were A, Sachin Tendulkar and Anjali Tendulkar, B, Imran Khan and Jemima Goldsmith, or C, Elizabeth Hurley and Shane Warne. And the answer is B, Imran Khan and Jemima Goldsmith. She became a Muslim when she married him. She moved to Pakistan and she learned Urdu. And they were very, very devoted to each other. They're not together now, but they have 2 sons, and I gather that they're amicable. So sometimes love doesn't work out, but there's still some other kind of love around. So they share their love for their sons. Question 4. This romance led to one of the lovers being jailed in 1895. And the suggested answers were A, Oscar Wilde and Lord Alfred Douglas, B, Lord Nelson and Lady Hamilton, or C, Isadora Duncan and Paris Singer. Now the answer is A, Oscar Wilde and Lord Alfred Douglas. Oscar Wilde was very much in love with Lord Alfred Douglas. Lord Alfred Douglas was... he wasn't very nice to Oscar Wilde, really. There was one time when he had flu and Oscar Wilde nursed him through it. But then when Oscar Wilde caught the flu, he didn't want to be bothered nursing Oscar. He went off to stay in a hotel. So, and what happened is eventually his father found out about the affair and instituted proceedings against Oscar Wilde, because at that time to be gay, to be homosexual was against the law. And Oscar Wilde spent a couple of years in prison. And he was never, ever fully accepted again after that. Tragic story, really. Right, question 5. This actress gave up a starring film career to marry a prince. Who were they? And the alternatives were A, Grace Kelly and Prince Rainier, B, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, or C, Sophia Hellqvist and Prince Carl Philip of Sweden. Now the answer was Grace Kelly and Prince Rainier of Monaco. Now you might have thought it might have been Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, but if you listen to the question, it's the actress giving up a starring career in films. Meghan Markle was a star on a TV show, Suits, but not in films. She had a few bit parts in films, but she was never a star. Grace Kelly was one of the most popular Hollywood stars of her age, and she gave it all up to marry Prince Rainier of Monaco. And the third couple, Sophia Hellqvist and Prince Carl Philip of Sweden. Sophia Hellqvist was a journalist before she married Prince Carl Philip. And if you ever read some of the newspapers that do a lot on the royals, you often see pictures of the Swedish royal family. She's very, very beautiful, and he's very beautiful too, actually. But she wasn't an actress, she was a journalist. Okay, right, on to the Who Said round, and then we'll go on to the music, hopefully. Right. Remember, on this one, it's 3 points per question. So you get a point for the character who said it, you get a point for the book it was in, and you get a point for the author of that book. Who said, "He is more myself than I am. Whatever our souls are made of, his and mine are the same." Right, well, that was Catherine Earnshaw, and she was saying it about Heathcliff. She was saying it in the novel Wuthering Heights, which was written by Emily Bronte. And I have to put in questions about Wuthering Heights every now and then because I used to work with Kelly T-Boone, and she absolutely adores Wuthering Heights. So if she ever catches up with this quiz, it's for you, Kelly. Okay? Question 2. "Tonight," he whispered, his voice hoarse and hot in her ear, "I will make you mine." Well, you may well have seen this on the telly. It's Simon, Duke of Hastings, of course filmed as Bridgerton, and the name of the novel, which Bridgerton was adapted from, is The Duke and I, and it was by Julia Quinn. And if you enjoyed Bridgerton, she's written about 8 novels about the Bridgerton family, and I read a snatch of one of them while I was researching this, and they look quite funny actually. They look quite good. But anyway, it was Simon, Dishy Simon, the Duke of Hastings, who was whispering in his lover's ear. Right, question 3. "In vain have I struggled. It will not do. My feelings will not be repressed. You must allow me to tell you how ardently I admire and love you." Well, that, of course, was Mr. Darcy. The blessed Mr. Darcy. What would we do without him? And it was in the novel Pride and Prejudice, which was written, of course, by Jane Austen. And he was saying those words to Lizzie Bennet, who was way below him socially and who he thought was a terrible match, but he couldn't help himself but fall in love with her. Okay, question 4. "I know we can do this. I know it's not how you would have chosen it, but I know I make you happy. And all I can say is that you make me. You make me into someone I couldn't even imagine. You make me happy, even when you're awful. I would rather be with you, even the you that you seem to think is diminished, than with anyone else in the world." Oh, that is said by Lou Clark in the novel Me Before You. She's saying it to Will Traynor, who the hero, who has been paralysed, and she's hired to look after him, and romance develops. So it's Lou Clark in the novel Me Before You, and that is written by Jojo Moyes. Okay, now the last question on this round. Question 5. "Let her go. Let go the woman you've been looking for everywhere just because she was difficult, because she had a temper, energy, ideas of her own and fought back. Let go a woman whose eyebrows were a study, whose face was enough to engage your attention all your life. Let go a woman who was not only a woman, but a sound. All the music he had ever wanted to play, a world and a way of being in it. Let that go. I can't. Well, that was, it was a character called Son, S-O-N. And it was to a woman called Jadine. It was in the novel Tar Baby, written by Toni Morrison. And some of these quotes are so romantic. It was really a lovely quote. But the answer to that was Son, and the novel was Tar Baby, and the author was Toni Morrison. Okay, so now we get back to the wonderful Spotify. And let's see if my laptop will do what it's meant to be doing. Okay, now let's try this. Number 1. Let's just go back. Try that again. No, it seems to like freezing every now and then. Now then, let's go back onto that. Oh, come on. You're going to suffer if I don't get this, because I'm going to have to sing some of them myself. But let's hope, shall we, that doesn't come to anything. Right. Let's try again with you, Spotify. Maybe the wind's affecting it. When I used to be a teacher many years ago, the wind always made the kids go mad, go wild. So maybe it's making my Spotify go wild. Anyway, number 1. Here we go. Right, and that is Adele, Make You Feel My Love. So, lovely song, a really lovely song. Now then, the next one, number 2. I'm going to move it along a bit.
I go out every night and sit all day.
Well, that is the incomparable Nothing Compares to You by Sinead O'Connor. And such an agonised song about being dumped and feeling so sad. Right, but here's the more cheerful one. And let's... Every day. It Must Be Love by Madness. A really nice, jiggy, cheerful one. Okay, and now this one, which is absolutely gorgeous. Oh, it's just so gorgeous. When I was young, Tamla was really big, and this was one of the great songs for a slow dance. It's Ma Chérie Amour by Stevie Wonder. Okay, and then this last one, which is another quite sad one, really. Now let's play.
I'll think of you each step of the way.
And I will always...
Goodbye.
Yeah, that's I Will Always Love You by Dolly Parton. She wrote that song, and I actually prefer that version of it because her voice is so sweet and it's so sad. So yes, I love that song. Right, so that was the end of the music round. We got through it all right. Well done, everybody. Right, now then, last last but not least, the round on wedding traditions. Where do brides and their female friends gather before the wedding to have henna tattoos called mehdi on their arms and feet? Well, I've put down a number of countries: India, Pakistan, the Middle East, anywhere in that kind of area. So also, I mean, you could put some European countries where this has become quite common in certain communities. So basically, you know, give yourself a point whatever you put, as long as it's a real country that you put. Okay, right. Question 2. Where do wedding guests steal a kiss? Whenever the bride leaves the room, the guests can steal a kiss from the groom and vice versa. Well, wouldn't it just be Sweden? Isn't that great? So like, you have all your exes to your wedding, and when your bride or groom leaves the room, they can all kind of steal a quick kiss before they come back, just for old time's sake. I think that's great. Sweden. Okay. Question 3. In which culture is the bride unveiled until her groom has seen her, and then he veils her face? Well, that's in the Jewish culture, and in you know, Orthodox Jewish weddings. It comes from the story of Jacob, who was tricked into marrying the wrong sister, because the bride arrived veiled, and he didn't see until after the wedding that he'd married the older sister rather than the younger. And so nowadays, in the Jewish tradition, the groom must see the bride before he then puts the veil over her face. Okay? Question 4. Now this is a great one. In which country do guests hijack the bride, and it's around coffee time, you know, after they've eaten the kind of wedding breakfast thing, and take her off to a bar to drink champagne? And the groom then has to try and find them, and he has to bring a bouquet of flowers to the bride. He has to pay the bar bill, which, you know, if they've been gone an hour or so, can be pretty considerable if they're drinking champagne. And then he has to wear a necklace made of all the champagne corks from the bottles that they've drunk. This is Germany. Wow. Wow. So, you know, if you get invited to a wedding in Germany, well, I would say just make sure you're not the groom, really. Okay. And the last question of this quiz. Where does the length of the bride's veil reflect the length of the engagement? 1 metre for each year. So actually that's in southern Italy. So if you have a long, long trailing veil, the tradition is that means you must have been engaged for at least 10 years. And that's in southern Italy. Okay, so that's the end of the quiz. I hope you enjoyed it. There'll be another quiz coming very soon, on all things Welsh for St David's Day. And there'll be another one of our romances and chances, and this is the beautiful Fanny Eaton. So that's two things to look forward to in the next 10 days. Okay, folks, well, I hope you have a lovely Valentine's Day. Love someone, love an animal, love your pets, love your family. Just celebrate love today. And I wish you well and stay safe.